I love growing a garden and producing my own food. I also love learning about history and past civilizations, and I combine those interests by growing rare, heirloom, ancient varieties of crops that people of the past depended on for survival. Last year, I really focused on growing a Native American heirloom garden, types of crops that the Native American agriculture communities were growing and using as food sources before European contact, and they really had a diverse variety of crops. Some crops aren't grown very often anymore, such as devil's claw. They grew tobacco, cotton, wild peppers, panic grass, also the classic sunflower, and three sisters, the bean, squash, and corn, also known as maize. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of the ancient and really rare varieties of corn that I grew last year. Now this year, I'm not growing a lot of different varieties of corn. I got my hands on one of the rarest and most beautiful varieties of corn, and I'm growing that in my garden just to preserve the genetic integrity of it, so I don't want any cross-contamination. I'll show you that. It's called Pawnee Eagle corn, and it's amazing and beautiful. But I'll start by showing you the types of heirloom Native American corn that I grew last year. Varieties of corn can be broken up into different groups. There's 6 major groups. There's the sweet corn that we're used to eating right off the cob and popcorn. There's also flour, dent, flint, and pod corn. And I have varieties of each of these here represented. So I'll go through and show you some of the really cool heirloom varieties of corn. You can maybe grow these in your garden. All of these are readily available except for a few, and I'll show you where you can get those as well. But I'll start with the different varieties and I'll work my way back to some of the more ancient and rare varieties. So I'll start with popcorn. Popcorn is one of the older varieties of corn, and this is called Dakota black popcorn. Very easy to grow, and it's beautiful. It's got this nice black kernel, and it will pop into a white popcorn kernel just the same as the yellow ones or white ones. Very easy to grow and really nice. Here's a really small variety of corn. This is called Tom Thumb. It's really fun because the kids love to grow this. It's not tall and produces a bunch of these little cobs that you can throw right into the microwave, and the kernels will pop right off the cob and the kids can eat them. So definitely Tom Thumb is a recommended variety for me. Here's a really special variety of popcorn known as Navajo copper popcorn. It comes in a lighter and darker shade when I harvested these. Also very easy to grow, didn't require that much water. And again, you can just put these cobs right into the microwave and they'll pop into popcorn. You can also take them off, put them in the air popper, or put them on a pan with some oil, and you have a nice treat that you grew right in your garden. This variety of popcorn is called Glass Gem. It was developed over many years by an Oklahoma farmer named Carl Barnes, who is part Cherokee, and he selected for kernels that look like these little gems. They're very colorful, and it's really fun to peel the husk back and see just the different colors that have developed. Really easy to grow, and it's pretty available now. It was a big hit when it first came out, and these were expensive, but now the seeds are affordable, and you can grow these in your garden. Here's a brown corn. This is called chipotle corn. It's an ancient variety. Brown chipotle corn was found in archaeological sites that's several thousand years old. So if you want to look at ancient varieties of corn, definitely grow this brown chipotle corn, and it's real special and it tastes great too. Here's an heirloom variety of corn that is green. It comes from Mexico. It's pretty common. You can buy these, and it's fun to grow because it has so many different shades of this really dark green to light green, and definitely a unique variety. Here's a red heirloom variety of corn. This is called Bloody Butcher. Definitely one of my top varieties of corn too. Nice ruby color and easy to grow. One of the 6 varieties of corn is pod corn. Here's 2 examples that I grew last year, are darker and lighter, and I can see why this wasn't grown for food. It has a little husk on each kernel, and it would be a real pain to remove all of that. Definitely an interesting and ancient variety of corn, and grown more for ornamental than for food purposes. One of the heirloom varieties that I've grown for the last several years is this. It's a huge producer, and I grew it in the back garden without any irrigation and produced a ton of food. This is Hopi blue corn. Definitely a Native American variety of heirloom corn that's worth growing in your garden. Now I mentioned I'm interested in history, and I was wondering where corn developed from. Well, it developed from this plant. This is called teosinte. These are little husks there, and there's little seeds inside. This is the ancient progenitor or wild ancestor of corn. It doesn't look anything like corn, but it is definitely an ancestor. Here's a little kernel here, and these are rock hard, but you can pop these just like popcorn. So that's probably how it developed as a food source, was popping these teosinte by the fire and selective breeding until it became popcorn and other varieties of corn. This grew over 10 feet tall in my backyard, and it will definitely crossbreed with the other varieties of corn. I wanted to see if this would crossbreed, so I put some of the pollen of the teosinte on my Hopi blue flower corn, and I was able to grow this. This is half teosinte, half blue flower. So pretty cool that you can still crossbreed these ancient varieties. Here's two pretty pathetic looking ears of corn, but I'm actually really happy with this harvest. This is a very rare variety that comes from South America and Peru. It grows in the Andes, and it's difficult to grow up here because it's so daylight sensitive and adapted to the Andean climate. So I'm hoping that over several generations I'm able to grow this here and take some of that daylight sensitivity and the Andean conditions out of it, and it will grow here in Oregon in the Pacific Northwest. I got these seeds from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed. They have a series in there called the Explorer Series, where they have people going all over the world collecting rare varieties of food, and one of those journeys they collected different varieties of corn from South America. So they were pretty expensive. It was 12 seeds for $6, and I saved most of them. I only grew 2 of them just to see if they grow, and they did. So I'm hoping that this will continue to grow over several generations, and I'll be able to grow these purple and black corn seeds from South America. Here's an even more pathetic looking ear of corn. This was the black Incan corn, and I only got a few kernels off of it. This thing grew almost 15 feet tall, but didn't produce very much. But I did get a few seeds, so I'll see if I can grow those in the near future. Here's another South American variety of corn that I had much better success with. I got many kernels, so I'm hoping that I can grow a large crop of these and start propagating them. Definitely interested in growing these difficult varieties of corn that come from different parts of the world. And finally, I have 2 varieties of corn known as eagle corn. This is called Cherokee Eagle Corn. I bought this off of Baker Creek Heirloom Seed, and it's a special heirloom variety, but in my opinion, this is much more special. This is called Pawnee Eagle Corn. It's called eagle corn because it's a yellow kernel, and on the tip of many of these kernels there's a black dark image of an eagle. It actually has a head and wings and tail feathers. I'll do a close-up so you can see just what those eagle images look like. Very special and very rare variety of corn. This came from the Pawnee Nation, and at one time there was such a few number of seeds that this variety almost went extinct. I really wanted to grow it, and I looked at all the images online, reached out to several different people, and no one would share the seeds with me. They felt it was too rare and sacred. I finally found one person who gifted me 10 seeds, and I grew those last year, and from there I now am growing 300 of these plants in my garden. So I'll do a full video on the Pawnee Eagle Corn and just how special it is. Also put a link in the description below so you can read the story of how rare this is. But stay tuned and I'll show you my full harvest of Pawnee Eagle Corn. The only variety of corn I'm growing in my garden this year to protect the genetic purity of it, and there's no corn growing anywhere in the vicinity. And hopefully at the end with those 300 plants I'll have enough seeds to share, because this is a really special and rare variety of corn.